Andrew Weissmann, I'm coming straight to you.
Yep.
I mean, this is not how it's supposed to work, right? Crimes are investigated by investigators who then bring them to prosecutors who then make these difficult assessments of whether or not there's enough evidence to indict and prevail in a courthouse. This seems to be going the opposite direction. And I know the adaptive mind likes to say, well, no jury will convict, but that's not really the point today, is it?
Right. That's right. I'm going to give some embroidery just because I'm a legal nerd on the sort of incredible reporting and the synopsis from Carol. One is we will know whether there's an indictment because the return, the sort of voting, once it has happened, the handing up of that indictment, if it is voted, will be done in open court. It has to be legally. And so it's not something that that we will be sort of surprised by, weeks or months later. It is something that they will see actually being handed up. And so we should be expecting that if they manage to get the vote. In terms of the way things are supposed to happen, there is a Department of Justice rule that clearly is being violated, in my view, certainly in the James Comey case, and based on the reporting from Carol Leonnig in this case as well. When a prosecutor goes to the grand jury, it is true that all that you need to show to the grand jury is that you have probable cause. Think of that as maybe 20% chance. It's a low standard. And all you have to do is meet that threshold, and you only have to get a majority of the grand jurors, so that's 12 out of 23 usually, to agree. But DOJ, the Department of Justice, has a rule, and it's a really important rule, which is that you do not present a case to the grand jury and indict somebody unless you are like a good faith, reasonable belief based on the facts that you can win at trial. In other words, that you are going to be able to prove your case beyond a reasonable doubt. The reason for that rule is precisely so you don't have the James Comey situation and now the Letitia James situation if she is indicted, where you have this period where you're subjecting somebody to an indictment, but it is so clear in everything we know to date about the evidence in both the Comey case and the Letitia James case that they will never be able to meet that. That is why you're seeing career people say no. And you actually, in the case of Minter Siebert, it was not a career person. It was a Trump appointee who said no. And that's because that's how you're built. You're built at the Department of Justice that you are supposed to base things on the facts and the law. And so what we're unfortunately going to see is the courts and juries pushing back, but we do not have any resistance within the White House, and we certainly don't see it at the Department of Justice at the leadership level, where they should be imposing their own rule in these cases.
Andrew Weissmann, what is a declination memo? And when they're drafted and it's made public that they exist, how can they be used by a victim or a target of a malicious prosecution?
Great question. So one of the things that you do when you're at the department is if you're going to go forward or if you're not going to go forward, you write that up. And so if you go forward, you write a prosecution memo and you lay out all of the pros and cons, the law and the facts. The same thing if you are not going to go forward, you'd write a declination memo and you'd write out what the legal problems are, what the factual problems are, why it is that you think you should not go forward. Those memos are the kind of thing that Pat Fitzgerald, the lawyer who you referenced, Nicole, a revered lawyer, highly respected at the department and elsewhere, former U.S. attorney in Chicago. That is something that he is clearly going to seek, and he referenced yesterday in the arraignment of James Comey, because that is a lawyer who's going to say that this is vindictive prosecution. That is a legal doctrine for you were singled out based on either a statutory or constitutional basis that you have been targeted. Obviously, this is a poster child for targeting. I mean, if it's not here, when? And what you are going to ask for if you're a defense counsel is discovery on that. I am confident that the Department of Justice is going to fight that like crazy, because that discovery could be highly embarrassing to the department and to the White House. But that declination memo will be part of the discovery that they ask for. In addition, they will ask for all of the communications between the White House and Mr. Siebert and Ms. Halligan and anyone else about James Comey, or in this case, if Letitia James is indicted, with respect to her. And even though vindictive prosecution motions are very, very hard to win, we've already seen Abrego Garcia have a ruling in his favor, granting him discovery. And I think we'll see the same thing happen in the James Comey case. I think we will certainly see that if Letitia James is indicted. I think we'll see that there as well, because it's not rocket science to say, what did James Comey and Letitia James have in common? And why would they be targeted when there is reporting, including in ProPublica, that they're current people in Donald Trump's cabinet who have the same or similar mortgage issue. So this is the antithesis of the rule of law, and it really strongly suggests targeting, which goes to the heart of vindictive prosecution.
Director Brennan, I want to bring you in on this. You are a perceived political enemy of Donald Trump. You have been targeted with threats of prosecution. I believe they believe that you are under investigation. I think last time we talked, some of that was unclear. Tell me how this news lands, that a grand jury is hearing evidence that a Trump-appointed prosecutor didn't think met the lowest threshold of bringing a case against Tish James.
First of all, Nicole, I love listening to Andrew Weissman speak about the law. He does it so well and very informative. And as Andrew knows well, the grand jury hears the representation from, in this case, Lindsay Halligan, as far as the alleged facts. It's a one-sided representation of the facts.
Right.
And quite frankly, I don't have confidence that all of the facts are being laid out in front of the grand jury. It's unsurprising, given that we know that Donald Trump has been determined to carry out this revenge tour, identifying individuals and very publicly directing the Attorney General and others to bring charges. And the fact that you had these professional staff members of the U.S. Attorney's Office refuse to bring those charges because there wasn't the evidentiary basis to do so, and then resigned because they didn't want to tarnish their integrity as well as their ethical requirements. And the fact that he had to bring in his personal lawyer from the White House to do this, I think it just demonstrates that there's been a real corruption and perversion of the process here. So it's, in many respects, unsurprising. It is definitely disheartening in terms of what has happened. And just watching the Attorney General's testimony in front of the Senate the other day, it just demonstrates that she has total disrespect for any type of congressional oversight. It was the most disrespectful testimony that I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, the Department of Justice has now been put like putty in Donald Trump's hands. So again, I think, Jim Comey has, very good legal representation, the best that is available. I'm sure Letitia James is going to also have that legal representation. So I'm hoping that justice will prevail, and that even if grand jury charges are brought against Letitia James, like they were against James Comey, the truth will ultimately come out and these individuals will be acquitted, exonerated. But the damage that is being done to our system, to the Department of Justice, I think is just, almost limitless in terms of that damage that is being done. And as well as it's not inconvenient for people who are being, charged. It is really quite damaging as far as, time, expenses, reputation, other types of things. But I think this is what Donald Trump wants to achieve. He was lashing back at individuals that he perceives to have harmed him in one way or another.